All right, welcome to another Ball Boys Journey collection YouTube page. Today's story is about me having dinner with R. Kelly in the studio in New York City. I want to say around like 2007. Yeah, make sure you watch this video to the end because there's a shocking revelation at the end. So at the time when I interviewed him, I was a celebrity talent booker for an urban radio station, 98.7 Kiss FM. It was known for the Kiss Wake Up Club, which was Jeff Fox, Shayla, Bob Slade, comedian talent, Rakia Mayer's the entertainment segment. I was the celebrity talent booker. So his label, Jive, had sent an email to all the talent bookers and producers and on-air hosts saying, if you want to interview R. Kelly, please submit your questions to the label for review. This is right around the time R. Kelly had just got the not guilty verdict out in Chicago, where he was charged for, I think it was like sexual molestation or sex trafficking. Anyway, he had beat the charges. He was in New York City doing interviews, and we had to submit the interviews to the record label to get approved. My questions were approved, so I was sent an email of the exact location where I would meet him, downtown New York. I was at the studio. So it was about at 3:30, I want to say on like a Thursday. I get down to the studio to meet him. I got on my shades, got my chain, being me, just being cool. And it just so happened I was the last person to interview him. So now I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool, but I'm a little nervous because this is my first interview with, major artist, a celebrity, and that of R. Kelly. So I get in the studio and there's two chairs. I see it from outside the studio door, and there he is sitting there. He's got shades on. I remember the studio was a little dark. It was, there wasn't lights on. It was kind of like, they wanted the interview to be kind of calm. And it was me and him there with a microphone. I had 10 questions to ask him. He's got on these dark shades, so I couldn't see his glasses. One thing I remember is when I met him, I shook his hand, and his right hand it felt like plumber hand. It felt like a plumber's hand. It was real big. It was just weird. It was a weird feeling. I'll never forget that. Sat there, asked him questions. One of the questions he didn't answer, which was, what do you have to say to all the haters that, said some negative things about you? And he just looked at me and stared and didn't say nothing. Interview continued. It was maybe about a 10-minute interview. And he was like, yo, we just made history. We just made history. Why don't you come eat dinner with me, break bread? We just made history. I was like, okay, cool, great. Who's gonna say no to having dinner with R. Kelly? And in my head, I was excited. I was thrilled, but I didn't want to show it out. So I played it calm, real cool. Okay, I was like, okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is amazing. So we go in the next room. Next door to the studio, there was a kitchen, and he had catered food. It was catered soul food. So I go to, the food's laid out, it was spread out. I go to get the food. I go to sit down, and we're at a small table. So it's me, I'm facing R. Kelly. Wayne Wonder is to the right of R. Kelly. And then sitting on the opposite side of R. Kelly is a young lady. I want to say she was over 18, brown skin, dark black hair. She had a black purse going around her shoulder, and she was quiet. She didn't say nothing, not one word. Kelly introduced me to Wayne Wonder. He was like, yo, this is Wayne Wonder. I knew who he was from Step in the Name of Love. So the name rung a bell. But the young lady, R. Kelly never introduced her, never said nothing. She sat there and she ate. She sat there very maturely, stood up, sitting in the upright position, very sturdy, and just was eating her food. Not one word. Wayne Wonder was talking, R. Kelly was talking. I was there just observing it all, just taking it all in, taking the moment in, as anyone would. But to see this, and after all that he had been going through with, all these allegations and not guilty verdict, and now actually seeing a young girl sitting there, I was pretty surprised. But it wasn't nothing like the media said or anybody said. She wasn't held to, not being able to confined and not being able to do anything. She was sitting there eating dinner with us very maturely. So, I was just a little taken back by that. I after the dinner, I wanted to go get a second plate because I was hungry. The food was good, but I didn't want to be greedy, so I didn't know what else to say. Maybe I should have been talking to him about music, what's up next, but I was just in the moment, and I was enjoying the moment and didn't know what else to talk about. So I wound up leaving. I got my CD of the audio of the interview, and I brought it with me the next day to the radio station, hoping that they would play it. This would be my, my big break of an interview. Never happened. They cut the interview. They felt that the interview didn't have any beef that they wanted to air. So the interview was never aired. But I know I did the interview. The interview's in the vault. Y'all see the photo. It's all real. The story is all real. And this is me, M. Dot. Another story. A Ball Boy's Journey Collection YouTube page. Make sure you click on the subscribe button. I got more fascinating stories with celebrities, athletes. Go check out my book, A Ball Boy's Journey, a memoir available on Amazon.com. Some great stories, trials and tribulations like you could never believe. And I'm here. Check it out. Make your comments. If you want to hear more stories, let me know. Peace.